this is the dog mystic, Cherie A. Marquez. And if you really want to learn how to level up your life, you should be listening to the Time to Shine Today podcast with my good friend, Scott Ferguson. So let's level up. Let's do it.
Hey, Time to Shine Today podcast varsity squad. It is Scott Ferguson, and I have a really fun conversation. It's a little bit off of my beaten path of interviewing coaches, consultants, therapists, and whatnot. I got to interview a good friend of mine, Cherie A. Marquez, the dog mystic, the author of Happy Dogs Equal Happy Homes, which is fantastic read, which I have a book giveaway at the end. And the knowledge nuggets she drops about really blending the human and the fur baby together to have a relationship of being in the present, really showing the love and affection, because nobody will teach you how to be in the present more than a dog. Trust me, I've had them my whole life. I've had my Stitch right now, my little Pitty, and Cherie's helped me out with stuff with training him. So just break out your notebooks if you have a pet, because she drops some fantastic knowledge nuggets in here. Or if someone with a pet that might be having a little rambunctious time, please share this episode with them, because I promise you it will help them as well. Or if you like it, smash the like button, smash the subscribe button, because my sponsors and affiliates absolutely love it. So without further ado, here comes my really good friend, Cherie Marquez, the dog mystic. Let's level up. Time to Shine Today podcast varsity squad. This is Scott Ferguson, and I have a little bit of home cooking. Someone that's fantastically awesome soft friend of mine, someone that I immensely respect, someone that is just stunning on camera if you're watching on Vimeo or YouTube. But I'm talking about my really good friend, the dog mystic, Cherie Marquez. And Cherie is a dog mystic. Like I said, she helps families worldwide. So don't think that you have to bring your dog to her. I mean, she has a way to get it done hands on the dog, but you don't have to live in South Florida like we do to be able to work with Cherie, and she'll fill us in on that. But again, she works with them worldwide, keeps their dogs in your forever home. So a lot of people are just about ready to get rid of your fur baby. Make sure you call Cherie first, because she has the knowledge nuggets that will keep that love going, because it's the worst thing in the world to me if you go to adopt and then you just give it up. Sorry, that's just my opinion. I'm sticking with it. But she instructs dogs of all ages, sizes, and breeds with no breed discrimination, by teaching you how to train dogs without treats as well. And like her book, which I'm going to have a book giveaway at the end, it's right here, Happy Dogs, Happy Homes, Problem-Solving Techniques Without Using Treats. And I'll tell you what, I read it on our way to a speaking engagement, squad, and I came back and Stitch was, but I still like kind of leveled him up a little bit with what Cherie dropped in that book. And Cherie, thank you so much for coming on. Love, please introduce yourself to the Time to Shine Today podcast varsity squad. But first, what's your favorite color and why?
Thank you so much. My favorite color is purple.
Purple. Why is that?
Purple just because it's bright and it's a happy color and it's shiny. It's shiny and bright and happy.
and it's royal and regal, because everywhere you look, I don't care if you're looking in the Old Testament and the Bible, anything that was royalty had purple. If you look at like Game of Thrones, all the royalty was purple. And for me, that's my favorite color as well. It's kind of a mix between blue. It is a mix between blue and red, right? And so blue is kind of chill, and I could be that, but there's a red side of me that comes out when I need it to be. So it's a perfect blend. But no, purple is definitely in your color wheel. And again, squad, when it comes to like fur babies and stuff, I have a massive crush. I'm a good friend, Cherie, man. She knows her stuff. She's given me dropped knowledge nuggets to help me with my Stitch in the past. And I've also like met her around and saw her on her YouTube channel and speaking in whatnot. And she does know her stuff. So I'm super ready and excited to dig into this. But Cherie, first, I got to know your roots. Like, you wake up one day and say, I'm going to be a dog mystic, or were you born and leaned into it, or what's the backstory?
So I have luckily always been around animals. So just growing up, I've had dogs and cats and like you name it. Like my my grandfather used to raise pigeons, so there was a whole bunch of birds, and then my mom also allowed us to have a 20-gallon tank on the porch. So anything that we caught outside,
No
we
way.
would bring it in and keep it in on the porch in the tank for about like 24 hours, and then we would release it back. So I knew I've always wanted to do something with animals my whole entire life. So I'm living my dream, and it's fabulous. When I transferred down to FAU in Boca, I wanted to be a marine biologist and just to work with dolphins and whales, and the page full of science courses that have absolutely nothing to do with psychology and
Right.
animal behavior, and it wasn't for me. So
So I got to go back. Like your grandfather legitly raced pigeons. That's a thing.
yes,
Wow.
yes.
Wow. Because somebody we had an argument the other day. Someone's like, "Oh, it's turtle doves that took messages." I'm like, "No, it wasn't. It was pigeons." I was actually right about something, and I stood my ground on it. But like racing pigeons, like, is it like obviously there wasn't a website for it at the time or something where you could find out, but like it was a real thing. And did you like watch this happen and stuff?
I was very young. I mean, like, unfortunately, he passed when I was 3.
I'm sorry.
But
That
but
sucks.
I remember everything about him. That's the amazing thing.
Dude.
So I mean, like, he's always here, but I mean, like, we just had that special bond.
Yeah.
So, but in regards to pigeons, they're homing pigeons, so they know exactly like where their home is, no matter what. So
Mm.
exactly how it worked, I'm not sure, but it was definitely interesting, and it was great just to be at my grandparents' house and be able to just go out to the coop and
That's so cool.
play with the birds and the eggs. I would
Yeah.
hold the eggs up to the light so you can see them like moving around.
Wow.
And
Isn't that
it was great.
amazing? I've actually been able to witness that. It's
It's
life,
so
man.
beautiful.
And that's what, yeah, it's fantastic. And Cherie is really intuitive with kind of like she was just talking about the retrograde and how my technology was messing up. But she's actually like, I feel her vibe even through like my headphones. Like we had lunch together and it's like I could feel her vibe. She's just such a good person. And I have to ask you though, animals, a lot of people that have the love for animals that you like you do, they go kind of vet tech or veterinarian. What took you away from that route, or why did you not think of that route?
Because I'm too emotional.
Okay.
So
Oh
in
yeah.
regards to the veterinary side of it, just to see animals dying and
Yeah.
or like in pain, or the worst part about it, like if a person is doing this, like abusing an animal, then I have to deal with it. And
Yeah.
I mean that goes for the same thing as rescue as well. You see the worst cases
Yeah.
for both situations. So, in regards to the dog training, I was a teacher for 5 years
Mhm.
for early elementary. So I was placed on this earth to teach, and dog training was like the perfect opportunity to use my skills.
We're
And
bl- we're blessed that you do, love, because it's
thank
needed.
you.
Because especially for people like myself as well. I mean, I tell Stitch every day, as long as I breathe air on this earth, nobody will mess with you again. He was badly abused, and when me and him kind of talk to each other, he talks with his eyes, and I talk with my mouth, and we get each other, right? But it's like there's that huge love and affection. I'm glad that you went this route because you just didn't say, okay, I can't deal with the passing over and crossing over of our fur babies. But you said, listen, when they're alive, you want them to live the best life possible and get along with their humans as well. So when you started in this kind of journey of yours, you trained for 5 years. What was the biggest kind of takeaway that you got from training that led you into opening up your business?
Well, the teaching, I was teaching kids first. So
Okay.
that training was absolutely
Oh, like
amazing
human
because
kids.
human kids. So
Oh, okay.
I was teaching kindergarten through third grade
Okay.
in a Montessori setting. So
Okay.
Montessori
It is.
blends the grade levels together.
Yes.
So I had that experience, but it wasn't lighting me up. It
Yeah.
wasn't bringing me joy. I wasn't waking up like, yeah, like every single morning. And it wasn't the
Yeah.
kids. It was just everything that goes with teaching. And like,
Right.
it wasn't my passion.
Right. The
So
connection wasn't there, right?
yeah.
Yeah. You have to have that. If they say you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life, which is kind of bullshit because like you can love what you do, but then there's business bills to pay and all that stuff that kind of comes along with it once you grow a business. But you love what you do, you're just going to love what you do, period. And that's the truth. So what kind of person, like what kind of people kind of like come to you like on a daily basis? Like people, can you give me a kind of description of what goes on at your company so people out there can hear, say, okay, listen, my dog's doing this. We need to talk to Cherie.
So it's more or less a different scenario for every person. But when the person has a puppy and the puppy is destroying their house and they are going to the bathroom all over the place and chewing and jumping and running out the door, and they're calling me at their wit's end, and like, if you can't help, I'm getting rid of this dog. But that's my mission, is to keep dogs in their forever home by teaching people how to train their dogs without treats and just create that everlasting bond with their dog, and realize that you like, they're here, they're angels placed on this earth to bring us into the present moment. So I mean, like, you have the puppies, and then you have the older dogs that are pulling too much on the leash, or reactive on the leash when they're on walks with other dogs. It's not necessarily an aggressive stance, but it's either excitement, or because they're on the leash and they can't get to the other dogs, then they're reactive that way.
Got you. So why no treats?
Because if you give your dog a treat for every single thing that they do, then they're going to expect it. And then if you don't have a treat, they're going to look at you like, yeah, I'm not going to do that. Because a dog's mind and a child's mind are almost exactly the same. So if they know they can get away with something, they're going to push it for everything that they can. So
I 100% agree with that. And I was taught that. I have no idea how I was when I was young. So I got, like, Stitch doesn't listen the greatest, right? But I did have on some clicker training on a couple things, especially on walks. If we're out hiking, like, he hears it and he comes to me and stuff like that. But I have, like, I kind of let him get away with a lot, to be honest with you. If you were to come over, he'd probably jump up. He has some serious ups, right? And kind of lick your face. Once he gets to know you, he's super chill. I just never broke him of that. So if I wanted to, he's 8 now, and I adopted him at 1. So if I wanted to at 8, is it pretty already ingrained in him, or could someone like me actually train him to stop with the ups?
It is at any age. The oldest dogs that I've actually worked with are 15-year-old dogs, and like different 15-year-old dogs from like different families, because I've been training for 24 years. So 15 years old, and the owners say that, like, oh, you can't train him, he's 15 years old, but he or she is feeling left out because of this new puppy. So I'm like, no, incorporate the dog into the training. So we actually incorporate the dogs with the puppy. And it's great though, because the older dog is showing that, like, all right, if that puppy can do it, let me show you exactly how
that energy matches that. Yeah.
And they're awesome. Like on point. They're perfect. So it's awesome. Never too late.
So when someone comes to you and says, hey, Cherie, dog mistake, like they maybe you're in a discovery session with them, like making sure that you're what they want to hire, right? And you're kind of talking about it. Like, is there any secret sauce you use during that discussion, maybe, Cherie, that like helps them find that initial, we'll just call it a blind spot that's going on with the dog? Is there anything that's in that discussion, or what's said, or kind of secret sauce that you use to really find that out?
Well, I mean, the main question is like, what kind of issues are you having?
Sure.
So what kind of issues are you having? And then going from there, and even if I'm giving little tips on what to do or how to solve it,
Yeah.
then it's just putting the confidence in
Okay.
them to show that I know what I'm talking about.
Absolutely. Yeah. And then the proof's in the pudding. I love that you're backing it up with a lot of the social stuff, because I know you're not like, oh, I want to be on social all the time, be monster, because we talked about that. But at least I'm glad that you're putting that content out. And we've met like 3 years ago, I think. We had lunch. It's been a minute, right? And like you had talked about, oh, I'm going to put this out. I think that's just great that you're starting to do it, because then people can see it. Kind of gives you that, look, it's true. She's the real deal. So what do you think then makes a good dog trainer, or like to get to a level of the dog mystic that you are? Like, what do you think makes a great trainer?
You got to love what you do. You have to
Okay.
love animals, and just to show your joy when you see the dog is so important. I mean,
Yes.
like it goes for the same way as like a veterinarian. I
Right.
mean, like there was this one veterinarian that I think I actually took a dog that I had in training to that vet because they were extended hours or maybe like open on a Sunday.
Sure.
And this veterinarian literally like got on the floor and let the puppy like just
That's awesome.
piss them all
Right.
up, and
Yes.
like, and I was like, oh, that's so cool. So I mean,
Yeah.
like that's the, as much as I want to walk into the house and
Right.
introduce myself to the person, the dog is the one that's greeting me first. So
Yes.
it's more or less
Oh
like,
my gosh. You are so right.
like hi. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm saying hi real quick, but then like really
Yeah.
getting and loving it up on the dog.
Have you found that you can find out a lot about their human by the way they act? And the reason why I say this is that I coach, I'm blessed to coach a lot of people, and a lot of them have pets, and meet them one-on-one a lot of times at their house. And I can actually have the right questions ready for my coaching after meeting their dog. You know what I'm saying? I can, because they take on so many traits, the dogs of their human, or maybe even it's vice versa. But I just see it. I can actually tell what I'm kind of walking into. Or even when I was in real estate, and I still am, but when I would go places and like want to list somebody's house, I can almost tell the attitude of the person that's going to be selling the house through their dog. Does that make sense to you?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. I mean, it's the person.
Okay.
It's the person that's transitioning the behaviors of the dog.
And the energy that the dog picks up, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, like with the dog training, it's easy to train the dogs, but
Sure.
it's difficult to train the people.
Let's go
Because
there, because like, how do you handle that? Because sometimes something radical has got to kind of happen to make sure that the protocol that you're putting in place happens. Like, how do you handle, because you got to not only like deal with, lack of a better term, deal with the dog's personality, but the owners as well. So how do you handle that?
Well, I mean, in the beginning of my career, then I was more or less trying to please the owners every way possible. But as the years progressed and as people just don't listen and they keep on repeating their commands and doing things their way instead of the way that they should,
Right.
then it's more or less being blunt and honest with them.
Are you?
Absolutely. I'm
Okay,
totally
cool.
blunt and honest with them. And
Yeah.
it's like, I'm walking into your house.
Right.
And let's say like it's the fourth lesson or something like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Fourth lesson, the dog's just not listening. I don't understand it. He's just not doing the commands. And then I get the leash and the dog is on point with everything.
Right.
And then they're looking at me like, how did you do that? I'm like, well, I'm not repeating my commands. I'm being firm. I'm not giving up.
Right.
And then they're like, oh, I'm like, well, that's all they've been telling you. Because I mean, like there's certain commands you can repeat and then other commands you don't want to repeat.
Right.
So when you repeat, sit, 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 sit.
Right.
All you're doing is asking the dog, sit for me, please. And the dog's looking at you like, whatever. I'm just going
Right.
to do it when I want to do it, not when when I have to.
Right.
So,
Absolutely. I get that with Stitch because he's a mix between a pity and a Chinese Shar Pei. So you have two of the most stubborn dogs that can be out there, right? And I have got to be daddy disciplined sometimes. Like he knows, especially if it's time for relaxation, I have to be like, castle now. And I built him like a little area that I call his castle. And I'm like, castle now. And he knows that if it's that, I'm not like, get in your castle, get in your castle. It's like I kind of picked that up from other trainers that I've seen. Like you said, be firm, be convicted, be gentle, but at the same time, they know that it's what they're going to be doing, right?
well, it's also about your tone inflection. So
Oh,
he knows your tone when like in the very beginning, you're like, go to your castle,
right.
go. And then he's just looking, and because you have any bully mix or any bullies in
Yeah.
general
Mhm.
are more stubborn than other breeds.
Mhm.
So they're like, he hears that tone at first, and he's just like, whatever.
Whatever, dude.
I don't have
Goes
to.
right back to his bone. Yeah, I
But
get
then
you.
as soon as your tone changes and castle, it's
Yeah.
firm. It's like, oh man, okay, fine. I gotta go.
Hey, Cherie, if you're in kind of like a discovery conversation, making sure you're the right horse for the course, it's a saying that I use. Make sure you're the right person to train their dog. Is there any good question that you wish they would ask you but never do?
Good question. Well, let's say if they choose, like that, they ask me, well, why should I choose you over any other dog trainer?
Okay. Okay.
And my reply is, well, I am not the dog mystic for any reason. It shows in the way that I train you and I train your dog, and just show so much compassion and love,
Right.
and
Right.
teach you how to gain that compassion on the soul level, so you have a better connection with your dog.
So you're training the human along with the dog, correct? Like you're training the voice or the tone inflection and stuff like that, like during your protocol of while they're a client, correct?
Well, that's so important. It's
Okay.
so extremely important,
Okay.
because it's not about, if I don't train the people, then it's pointless.
Right.
Because it's training them exactly what they have to do to deal with their dog
Right.
24/7, or
Right.
however long that they're with their dogs. Because I have gotten so many invitations on, oh, you want to come live here, like live at my house for like a week, 2 weeks. If I took people up on that, I would have 2 years worth of like staying in different people's homes.
Yeah, you wouldn't even have to get a new place like you just did. You just kind of
Exactly.
right. Okay. Gotcha. What do you think's the biggest mistake outside of tone inflection that you're seeing with people? Because let me back up. Beep, beep. Like I would ask you, is like if I follow your protocol and do what you tell me to do, how long do you feel it will take to get to the point of what you and I talked about where I want to get to? Does that make sense? That's what I would kind of ask you. If like Cherie, if I follow your protocol to the T and we do check-ins like how you do it with your business, then how long would it take me and my fur baby to get on point? That's just the question that I might ask. And if I follow your protocol, because a lot of times people be like, how long is it going to take? Well, dude, if you follow my protocol, right, then it's it will definitely shorten that learning curve a lot. But anyways, that's just my kind of take. But outside of tone inflection, what other mistakes, tone inflection and treats, what other mistakes do you see people making with their fur babies, or even somebody that is looking to possibly adopt? What mistakes are you that doesn't make sense. What kind of mistakes are you seeing people other than the tone inflection and the treats?
Okay. Well, just to back up real quick on how long
Yeah.
it should take is like approximately 2 months to really consistently just learn certain commands,
Okay.
apply it, and then it's all about consistency. It's all about repetition
Putting the reps
and
in. Yep.
consistency on a single, and like every single day. If you work with your dog 30 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
30 minutes, you split it up into 3 10 minutes or 2 15 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's all you need, just to give them the mental stimulation, because the mental stimulation of the training it gets them more tired than just playing and playing with any toys. And then being firm, but then loving, and then never giving up. Because the problem is, if people are impatient and they're trying to get their dog to do a certain command, let's just say like the sit command, and the dog is extremely stubborn, they get frustrated and they're like, oh, all right, forget it.
Right.
One time. That one time is all that was needed for that dog to remember. Their memories are absolutely amazing.
Yes.
So for that dog to remember, all right, cool. I'm going to be more patient than you. So let me just wait a little bit longer. You'll give up. And then I don't have to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So never give up. Never give up. It doesn't matter how long. The longest time, because I knew the dog knew the sit command.
Right.
And it was a Basenji, and Basenjis are stubborn dogs. It took me 45 minutes to get this dog to sit.
Oh,
but
geez.
I mean, that's an extreme case. It's not going to take that long.
Right.
But I mean, like, if your dog is extremely stubborn and looking at you like, I know this command, but I'm not going to do it.
Not going to
but
do it.
You can't give up.
Because I can wait you out. That's what the dog's thinking, right? Cherie, do you get any pushback from people that are out of their mind, if you ask me, and I'll say that I don't care, that from people saying you're taken away from their natural instincts?
In what regard? To train them?
Or like you're training them, because like some people, I've heard it. I've been around people like, I don't know why you train your dog. If they're going to jump and sniff and do this, then that's what they do. I don't believe in it, because we train our children, right, for certain things. But like, I'm just curious, because it's a different species than human. Have you ever had any pushback like that?
Well, I mean, I've seen the destruction. I've seen the destruction that some dogs, even if they're teeny tiny to extremely large, what they can do to the homes. So anybody that is saying, well, let them be dogs and let them do whatever they want, then my response is, are you going to let a child or a baby? Are you going to let, and this goes for the puppies, a puppy and a baby. Are you going to let a baby crawl around and put everything in their mouth?
Right.
No.
Nope.
Okay. And so, do you have a playpen for your baby? Yes. Well, guess what? They got a playpen for your dogs,
right?
Or your puppies, so they're not chewing on everything. You can save your furniture. They're not going to chew on wires and electrocute themselves. So, I mean, it's the same exact thing.
I love it, and that's exactly right. Have you ever told anybody that they should not have a dog?
I fired clients before.
Okay. I know that, again, I think that's the purple color. Your eyes just went a certain way when you said that. Like, you're like, I fired people before. Because I'm happy that you said that. That's 100% true. So
because it's a waste of my time. It's a waste of my time if I'm going there a couple of times and they're not doing anything that I'm telling them to do. And the dogs are perfect with me, and then they're totally not listening and being totally disrespectful to the owner.
Because the owner's lazy.
I'm sorry, you're doing it to yourself.
Yeah,
you're not following my rules, so this is what you get.
Right. And the owner's just lazy. A lot of times it just comes to that. It's like they want this, but they're looking for that shortcut, that easy, instead of putting the time, like you said, the reps in as well. So Cherie, How do you want your dash remembered? That little line in between your incarnation date and your expiration date, your life date and death date. Hopefully it's way down the line, but how does Cherie want her dash remembered?
Keep smiling.
Yeah.
Keep smiling and be fair. Be
Yeah.
fair with like the
Everybody.
golden rule. Yeah. I mean, like the golden rule, treat others the way that you want to be treated.
Yeah. I love
So
that. And you do that, which is fantastic. How about like, is there anything people might misunderstand about Cherie?
even if I'm quiet or shy, or not necessarily shy, but just quiet,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm observing everything. So
Okay.
I'm in the back of the room and just observing and just taking it all in.
You're not really being a bitch. You're just really trying to be a sponge and kind of take it in and be like, oh, and understand the stuff.
Yes.
I think I noticed it from you because I met you at Podfest, right? And you're kind of like, what the hell is this place? And I saw you kind of like observing and taking it, because that's me, and my superpower is curiosity, right? So it's like that's where I like will look at people and see and read their vibes and kind of see what it is. And I can definitely see that with you, where you never had like a resting bitch face or anything like that, but you were like kind of like just there, which was very cool. How about like, what is your definition of a life well lived?
um getting to getting to a place where I have passive income,
Mm.
I have time freedom, I have location freedom, and I can work from anywhere in the world because I have my phone, I have internet, and my mission is just to help as many animals and people as possible, and
Love it.
nature.
You know, it's funny. I have a canned response. I get interviewed a lot on podcasts and stuff where they're like, so what's your definition of success or life well lived? I'm like, living a life of options and not obligations. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I know I got
Exactly.
bills to pay, dude, but if I want to live a laptop lifestyle and go travel and speak and stuff like that, that's what I'm going to do. That to me is true success. Obviously be loved and give love and find that person for you. But it's just if you have, like you said, getting a place where you have passive income, time, freedom, location, that's it, right? I mean, that's yeah, it's huge. So how about 3 things that Cherie can't live without?
Animals,
Okay.
my son,
Yay.
and well, it's going to be 4. So my friends and family.
I just say community, right? I mean, that's huge with
Yes.
it. I love it. I love it, love it, love it. Time to Shine Today podcast Varsity Squad. We are back, and Cherie, like we've talked probably on some of these questions I'm about to ask you. We talked at length, right? But today you have 5 seconds with no explanations, and I promise you that they can all be answered that way. Are you ready to level up?
Ready?
All right. Cherie, what
Nope.
is the best leveling up advice you've ever received?
Do what brings you joy because you only have one life to live.
Love it. Share one of your personal habits that contributes to your success.
My morning routine is so extremely important. I do my morning affirmations and into my water, and then I drink the water afterwards.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Which is interesting, but I love it.
Yes.
So you see me kind of walking at an event, or you just meet up with me and like, man, Fergie's in his doldrums. Is there any book that you ever read that really just flipped the script in your brain to really put you in a mindset, good mindset or gratitude?
Book. I love, I don't know. I love Marie Forleo, and everything is figure outable.
I've heard of that. That's awesome. Very good. Your most commonly used emoji when you text?
Happy face.
Love it. Nicknames growing up?
Berry.
What is
Bear.
it? Barry?
Like Share Bear or
Oh, sure.
Berry.
Okay. Love it. Love it. Do you have any hidden talent and or superpower that nobody knew about well until now?
I'm an amazing hugger, and I love hugs.
Yes, you are. I know that. Absolutely. Love it. Chess, checkers, or Monopoly?
Checkers.
Love it. Me too. See, headline for your life.
Excuse me?
Headline for your life.
Let's see. for my life. Do what brings you joy.
Yes, you did what brought you joy. I love it. That's beautiful. Go-to ice cream flavor.
Black raspberry.
All right. There's a sandwich called the Share Bear. Build that sandwich for me. What's on that sandwich?
Hmm. Hmm. Okay. Hummus.
Okay.
So like veggies, so spinach, mozzarella, and tomatoes, and then balsamic, like an amazing balsamic oil and balsamic and
Yeah.
seasoning. So like
Sounds good.
a whole bucket.
Love it. Love it. Favorite charity and or organization like to give your time and or money to?
Clean water. Clean, like don't just there should be clean water everywhere
Worldwide.
and
Yeah.
worldwide.
Love it. Love it. Last question. You can elaborate on this one a little bit, but what's the best decade of music? 60s, 70s, 80s, or 90s?
90s.
90s.
Freestyle.
Really? Really? I thought you were going to go 80s, but why the 90s?
Freestyle.
Okay, I got you. Feel that. Feel that. So, how can we find you, my friend?
So you can find me on thedogmystic.com. As soon as you go onto my website, you can purchase my books, Happy Dogs Equal Happy Homes. And then right underneath, there's a free course, and it is a problem-solving techniques course that takes you through all the problems you may be having.
Love
and
it.
then that leads you to other courses that I have.
And I love the emails that I do get from you because they're all informative and they have knowledge nuggets in there for you to really level up the relationship with your fur baby. I think that's incredible. And also tell me a little bit about this awesome book, like how it kind of came about, like how you got it written. And I mean, I just remember the excitement that you had coming out when you wrote it.
Yes. Well, it's just an accumulation of everything that I have been doing within my years of dog training. But I took the spiritual side of it because it's teaching you like we're all interconnected. So you have to allow the animals to bring you into that present moment and just they're angels. So it's teaching you how important it is to build that connection with your dog.
Yeah.
But it also goes through problem-solving techniques. It goes through healthy things, like what's healthy for your dogs, what's unsafe for your dogs. And then it ends with like an ending prayer that is absolutely amazing.
It's awesome. I mean,
yes,
you cover everything from piddling to approaching dogs. I mean, everything was included. I literally, I mean, I had a long flight to Seattle where I was speaking, and I read some, caught some Z's, and I finished the book before I got to Seattle. So you keep us engaged in it, and it's fantastic the way it's written, the layout, the format, even the cover. It doesn't feel like a cheesy book, man. It feels great. So congratulations on this. This is huge. And Squad, I'm going to do a 3-book giveaway for the first person or the first 3 people that, last thing real quick, I got to go back because there are videos in the book as well with QR codes within the book itself, which I thought was pretty freaking key. Thank you for doing that. That's amazing.
It's teaching to each learning style.
Yes, that's awesome.
And that's another thing, because it's kind of like a question and answer book. So if you're having a problem with one specific issue, you go to the table of contents, you go to that page,
right?
You read the information, and then most of the problems you can do the QR code to watch the video that goes along with it.
Such a brilliant thing to do. That's fantastic. And Squad, I'm going to get back to my giveaway. 3 books, first for 3 people that put The Dog Mystic in any of our social, or if you text it to 561-440-3830, or just email us, The Dog Mystic, and we will, if you're one of the first 3, then I will personally purchase copy and have it mailed out to you. And also I'm going to do a 5 Kindle giveaway. 5 Kindle book giveaway for the first 5 people that put in Share Bear. That is in there. That's CHERBEAR. If you put that in any of our social or text that to us or email it, then I'll get you a Kindle copy out to your email. Obviously, use the email that you use for your Kindle as well. And Cherie, if you could do me one last solid and leave us with one last knowledge nugget that we can take with us, internalize, and take action on.
Okay. So just realize that dogs are creatures of habit, and they're angels placed on this earth to bring us into the present moment, to create that everlasting bond. And take the time, be in the present moment, allow yourself to literally, even if it's for 5 minutes, sit on the floor, start petting your dog, put your phone away, and be in the moment.
Yes, I love it.
Be in the moment now.
I love it. In squad, I love this conversation with my good friend Cherie, the dog mystic. Her grandfather raised pigeons, which is so cool. I know she was young, but all of that stuck in their reticular activating system, or RAS, that just remembers everything about that. And that gave her really leaned into a love for animals. She was too emotional to be a vet. So she went an even better route to help people really connect with their pets. And that's so true that my dog, my Stitch, makes me feel so present in every moment that I'm with him, because I take the headphones out and no phone. We go for walks. At least one of our walks a day is just him and I chilling, kind of doing our thing. Every dog is different, just like every human's different. And that's what makes Cherie great about being able to really get to know your fur baby and also get to know you, to see how the best mesh possible for you to be able to have the right tone inflection, to be able to have a bond in a forever relationship with your fur baby. And lastly, she wants to also reach out to us humans to really kind of live a life well lived, of always be smiling, be fair, have a servant heart, get to a place of options, not obligations. She's living with intention and not attention. She's doing things for the intention of really wanting to have that bond and have you present with your dog, than the attention, like, look at me. But she, again, an author of a fantastic book. She levels up her health. She levels up her wealth. She's absolutely beautiful. She's one of my good friends. Thank you so much for coming on, Cherie. You've earned your varsity letter here at Time to Shine today. Thank you so much for coming on, my love.
Thank you so much.
You bet.
It was a pleasure. Yes.
Bye. Hey, thanks so much for listening to this episode of Time to Shine today, proudly brought to you by Inlet Properties and Investments. If you are a business owner or professional who would like to be interviewed on the Time to Shine Today podcast, please visit timetoshinetoday.com/guest. If you'd like this episode, please subscribe on Apple Podcasts, YouTube Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you get your podcasts. There's a link in the show notes to our website. Also, there you will see our recommended resources. We hope you will help support our show by supporting them. If you like what you have been listening to, it'd be great if you could give us a 5-star rating and tell your friends how to subscribe while you're at it. I'm your host, Scott Ferguson, and until next time, let's level up. It's your time to shine.